All right, today we're diving into a really provocative and honestly a pretty mind-bending new way of looking at one of the most dangerous situations on the planet, the conflict over Taiwan. So let's just start with the big question, right? Is war over Taiwan inevitable? This is probably the geopolitical anxiety of our time. And for good reason, the stakes are just unbelievably high. But what if we've all been thinking about this the wrong way? The source material we're digging into today argues that all the usual stuff, military buildups, diplomatic talks, historical claims, it's all just spinning in circles. The problem isn't the hardware of war, it's the software running in our heads, and it's arguing for a pretty radical upgrade. Now, to really get what this proposed solution is all about, we first have to unpack the problem as the source sees it. And it's called the zero-sum trap. Basically, an old way of thinking that makes this conflict feel like it has to happen.
Okay, so check this out. This is where it gets really interesting. On the left, you have the concepts we always use, right? Sovereignty, territory, national identity. But the author suggests we just replace them with things like intelligence, networks, and cognitive capacity. It's a huge shift from thinking about physical ground to thinking about something more abstract, more informational.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. In the old way of thinking, Beijing's one China idea and Taiwan's identity as a separate democracy, well, they can't both exist. For one to win, the other has to be completely wiped out. It's a dead end, it's a trap, and it makes war feel like the only possible outcome.
So, what's the root of this trap? Why are we stuck? According to the source, it's not some policy failure. It's a bug in our thinking. The author uses this powerful metaphor. Our entire geopolitical worldview is running on seriously outdated software. And here it is, the specific bug in the code, what's called blood and soil nationalism. You know, that really deep emotional idea that people who share a history or an ethnicity must be under one government. It's like an ancient operating system that's been driving human conflict for thousands of years.
And this is how that bug manifests in the real world. The source argues that this whole crisis is fueled by the weaponization of sameness. It's taking this beautiful idea of a shared culture and twisting it into a reason for political domination, for erasing any kind of difference.
So if our thinking is running on buggy, outdated software, what's the fix? Well, this gets us to the absolute core of the argument. It's time for the intelligence upgrade, a totally new operating system for how we think about who we are.
Now this is where you have to take a big mental leap. The author is asking us to do something pretty radical. Stop seeing a person as a citizen of this country or that country, and instead see them as a unique instance of intelligence. We're all basically nodes in this giant global thinking network.
And this slide just makes that abstract idea so much clearer. In the old view, the difference between someone in Shanghai and someone in Taipei is this deep, unbridgeable gap, a divide of the soul. But in this new view, their different beliefs are just the result of different local training biases. I mean, think about it. They've just been fed different data, different histories, different social inputs.
And here's the profound part. While the outputs might be different, what we believe, who we're loyal to, the source argues the underlying hardware, our actual capacity to think and learn, is exactly the same. The differences aren't fundamental to our nature. They're just about the data we've processed.
Okay, so what happens when you actually install this new software in your brain? Well, suddenly, the logic of war and conquest starts to seem, well, kind of dumb. Let's see how it completely reframes the whole idea of annexation. I love this line. It's so perfect. It basically says war and conquest are primitive, clunky tools from another era. It's like trying to fix a software bug by hitting your computer with a hammer. It just makes no sense in a world that runs on information. So in this new framework, why is war the ultimate system error? The author gives us 3 crystal clear reasons. First, it destroys processing nodes. That's a cold way of saying it kills people. Second, it corrupts the data streams between us with hatred and trauma that lasts for generations. And third, it just wastes a staggering amount of brain power on destruction instead of creation. From a pure systems point of view, it is just profoundly stupid and inefficient. So if war is inefficient and conquest is just a system error, what are we supposed to do instead? What's the better goal? And that leads us to the final part of this whole intelligence upgrade, making a fundamental shift from a mindset of control to one of connection. And this, right here, is the whole punchline. If you see another group of people as a valuable center of intelligence,
The goal is no longer to crush them or control them. The goal is to connect with them, to exchange data, to learn from each other, to collaborate. The best outcome is the one that lets everyone thrive and think and create.
And the source wraps up with this just fascinating, kind of poetic thought. The one place on Earth that could spark a massive global war is also the exact same place that makes the physical hardware, the silicon chips, that power our entire modern, intelligent world. It's this wild reminder that the most amazing hardware is totally useless if you're running the wrong software.
So we'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. The author uses this idea to rethink a huge geopolitical crisis, but you can also make it personal. If you started to see yourself and everyone around you, not primarily by your passport, but by your shared capacity for intelligence, what would change? How would you see the world differently?